Hey y'all, new day, new verses. We continue on into Deuteronomy. Today we're going to be picking up in chapter 16, just playing around with verse 2, maybe verse 3. Just for now, Lord, thank you. Thank you that we get to dig in, ask questions, ponder, look at why. Thank you. We get to enter into your presence. Thank you that we get to. So long a season, so many years. Living in trepidatious fear like Esther. If the king doesn't invite you in, and yet the veil is torn, the invitation clear, you have invited us in, O King. So Lord, let us live in such a way that would show that invitation. Let us live in such a way that invites others to the party, that your house might be full. Let us live childlike faith filled with awe and wonder, not childish faith filled with hair grabbing and name calling. Lead the way that we might live love fully, Lord, known as we are known by you. We worship and praise you for who you are, Lord, for all you've done, for everything you continue to do. Thank you for speaking eternity into existence. Thank you that your breath sustains reality. Thank you that you know each one of the numbers of hairs on our head and know us intimately and true. Thank you. The invitation is there. Thank you for footing the bill, dying in our place. Thank you for standing up out of that grave, for without resurrection there is no hope. Thank you for being the breath in our lungs. Thank you for making all things new. Thank you that you are Emmanuel. Let us worship you and praise you. That simply was song in a gathering, a life worthy of praise. We love you, Lord. We love you, Lord Jesus. We love you, Holy Spirit. We love you, Father. We love you, Lord. Amen. Digging in and playing with verse 2. You are to sacrifice the Pesach offering from flock and herd to Yahweh your God in the place where Yahweh will choose to have his name live. No gesture today. But the reason for that is to share the how the pondering starts, right? Because looking at just this verse, and a lot of the questions that I have, they end up literally just starting out like this. I'm going to share the process. And maybe more through it together on the screen, who knows? But like looking at, right? You are to sacrifice the Pesach offering from flock and herd. Okay, that's a little bit different because the first time we saw Passover, right? It's the firstborn male yearling lamb, and it's eaten by the family based on the size, right? You know, if you don't have enough for one lamb, then you split it with another family you invited so that, food doesn't go to waste. It's still sacrificing another life, a life that's going to be of use out there, especially since if you're going to have more sheep, you kind of need male sheep as well as female sheep, because you can't go forth, reproduce, and multiply if you don't have both. But I digress. Because I'm looking at these words, and it's like, okay, so we don't just have flock now, we've got herd. And we know from earlier in the verses, it's like firstborn male calf, firstborn male lamb, no blemishes, nothing like that. If they do, anybody can eat it there, wherever, right? But otherwise, it's like, they're here, Passover. And it seems like potentially, maybe Sukkot and Shavuot, the weeks and shelters. I'm not entirely sure about that one. It's just kind of, well, at the very least, we know it's Passover, right? But there's some interesting differences. Because you've got the original Passover that's inside, undercover, blood at night. And although the Passover Seder and the evening meal still takes place at night, during the day, right? Because this essentially describes like a giant party. So why is it that this party is going from closed off, small, inviting others, yes, but otherwise more focused on the blood, on the lentils, the door frame and the crossbar? I'm 90% sure. Anyway, the original, blood, blood, blood. Destroyer passes over. Here, we're doing a party celebration. And we're celebrating the feast at night, but obviously you're going to be doing things at day, right? You need to kind of, or the day before to kind of, prep the lamb, stuff like that. And daylight kind of helps with these things. And I just kind of pondered these questions here. It's like, so why the difference? Why is this taking place in now instead of in homes? Why is this now taking place in the place where the Lord chooses to have his name? And even there, it's like, okay, is it still taking place in individual homes like that? At which point is the city mass influx, etc., like we see with, history play out. But it's like, okay, so what can be derived here, right? Everyone, the whole nation of Israel, supposedly, because just reproduce, multiply, you're going to see exponential numbers, right? And they're leaving Israel, or they're leaving Egypt already with, 150 million, some people like that. Population growth equation apply from there, because we have the numbers to do it. 60 plus 430 years, or what, 60 people, 70 people plus 430 years. But anyway, even with the, 0.1% or 1% population growth? Either way. So you have this massive number of people, whatever that X variable may be, assume it's kind of quite a lot, especially since history showed that it was. So everyone is flocking down here. And you've got the people who live here, especially a mix of Israelites, or Levites as well, right? It's the holy city. So you got Levites, you got Judites, potentially some Simeons, probably some Benjaminites. Simeonites? Because Simeon's inside Judah, Benjamin's right next door. Levi already hanging out inside because it's the city of David where God has chosen to choose his name. Both, right? So we've already got a bunch of tribes there. Now we're bringing everybody. And because this city has got a lot of stuff there and human beings tend to play the way they do, it's probably rather affluent. And, I'm playing with the idea to invite the tolling out of the thoughts, because it kind of clicked there initially. It was just like, well, yeah, of course they're going to, you've got a bunch of people who are essentially going to be living in shelters, inns, and what have you. It's Israel's opportunity to either jack up their price, show exorbitance, and do what human beings do best, or to actually live the practicality. Because guess what? Now that you have the entire population of the country inside one city, there's not a lot of room. Jesus was born in a manger because there wasn't room for a census, and that's simply a census under the reign of Tiberius. Well, I don't know if it was Tiberius. It says in Luke. So I don't have to have it memorized off the top of my head at the moment. We will one day, though. But if there's that many people in Bethlehem during a census, the people can say, how much more so in Israel? How much more when Israel shows up in Jerusalem? So you have this opportunity to still invite those. That this lamb, we're celebrating the party, we're celebrating the Passover. Well, instead of you being out there in the cold, it's spring, right? Night, insulated, still tenting, still camping, not exactly an evolution of technology, but still, it's like, rather than being on the outside, come in. Share this meal with us. Why the dramatic difference? Because there's no real difference at all. There's an invitation to do it. The same spirit in a different environment. Everyone's here. Everyone's come to this land. Everyone is celebrating with Pasach, the first of their flock and herd. So there is an army, sand on the seashore army, worth of people. All of them bringing firstborn sheep and firstborn cattle. And because they've been blessed, it's a whole lot of sheep and cattle too. And then so you get this mirror image of the physical sheep being led by their shepherds, who are in turn spiritual sheep, coming to the city where God has put his name, seeking their spiritual shepherd. No wonder the Passover Seder when the crucifixion happens. The lamb sacrificed in the place where the Lord has set his name. The freedom and rescue from a land of misery would be known. A land of enslavement, where failure and death rule. So why have him bring everyone to this single city? To give everyone who lives there the opportunity. You are blessed. This is clearly the capital. This is where God has placed his name. It is the most important city herein. And why? Because God has placed his name here. Oh, so you're absolutely blessed like Abraham. Mm-hmm. What are you going to do with it? What? What are you going to do with that blessing, kiddo? Because I'm going to have people from Naphtali come up. Or down, rather. I'm going to have people from Beersheba. And, well, it's up since geographically Israel's the center point, or Jerusalem's the center point and focus. So it's up to, even though geographically it's down from. But anyway. Just shows how different language is, especially based on what we consider most important. What we point up to, where our mind divides. Because Israel is told to do this, to sacrifice the Passover offering from flock and herd. So we're adding a new group in here. Which in and of itself, it's like, wait, with sheep and cattle, isn't like a baby sheep and baby cattle an allusion to the wives of Jacob? That fight there? Huh. So now it's no longer one or the other, it's both. We still get the firstborn imagery because of the rescuing, the Levites also. So we got both ideas of the daughters. Every firstborn. So every tribe matters. So there is no secondborn. There is just firstborn. Even if you're the 112th born, still as though the firstborn. And this invitation of, we've got all this blessing, so what are you going to do with it? Are you going to let the shepherd from Naphtali, who is coming down with a couple of coins in their hand, because, well, hey, exchange rate economics, and let's face it, flat circle and all that. But what would change if we derive the wisdom that stops the circle spinning? The wisdom that says, I'm not going to pull a Jeremiah call-out reason, the same thing that Jesus chased them out for. Turning the very place where even outsiders were welcome to come and worship the living God into a religious bazaar. Oh, it doesn't matter that you came to worship the living God. It doesn't matter that you came to fulfill this very calling. Because, well, I see the blemish that you don't. Because, well, this coin needs to be changed for that coin. Because me and mine and all of the thousands of fees and, well, I've got to survive. Is it really worth living when you have to exchange your soul simply for a mark on it to trade? I look at these words and I think about the place to live his name while we're processing this out. And it makes me think about, like, what does that mark really look like? The Shema, right? Because the Shema is written on the hand or the forehead to love the Lord your God, to listen and respond. Israel, you will love the Lord your God with all your love, all your nefesh, all your Shema. So the revelation, the anti-Shema, the mark of the beast on the hand or the forehead, so that you can trade, so that you can have those commodities done and wheeling and dealing and what have you. Well, they seem to connect quite astoundingly. And like I said, it's just kind of sharing my own processes when I go through these. And I like to dig in from multiple places, have these pauses and then come back to the verse a little bit later. Because, yeah, in context, you still see more of the bread and the leaving in haste and the remembering the parties. And, even the fact that the part of the bread is so they won't remember. It's like, so we're remembering affliction. We're remembering being rescued. We're remembering that we were slaves. If I was a slave, and I know what it's like to live as a slave, I know what it's like to live as the least of these, why would I want to do that to anybody else? If I'm told to love as I am loved, and he rescues me, then transitive property, I have to love enough to others. Not even if I don't rescue them, I have to be willing to get the hell out of the way of the rescue. So what if the mark of the beast is just that? The thing that says, well, I gotta do it to survive. I have to have my soul marked. But this pain and the affliction of knowing that what I just did is sin, but that I'm going to keep on doing it because I'm absolutely terrified if I don't go along to get along, I won't survive. This is the way we've always done it. It's a system that works. Of racketeering, the religious bazaar, the fees on top of fees on top of fees on top of etc. Chosen portrayed it quite well. Quite sadly, too. This is a library connected to itself, right? These images are woven together for a reason. And what if digging into the word is where he wants to show us the images of it? I mean, instead of chasing after every other person for milk, going right to him and asking for meat and bread. Growing up so that we can go in the kitchen and make something for food ourselves. And if other people are hungry, we share it. Still, it's just, these are the way I ponder and the way I dig through and the way I wonder these things. Because even just that one verse, why? Why is God having this entire massive multiplication go to this one city? Why are flocks and herds now involved? Why is it that the bread of affliction in the next verse is to come, God willing? Well, God willing about us meeting together. The verse is straight out. Why is it that the bread of affliction is what causes the remembering? Why is it that no leaven is supposed to be found in all of Israel? How are they supposed to make bread, raised bread, afterward? They would have to do some kind of trade with other people because, well, I don't have any more left. Take time to slow down, ask these questions, journal, write them down, spend time with God. Hey, sometimes even just journaling on that spot in your brain until you can get to those places where you want to physically journal. Been there by yourself, totally get it. Used to have a ton of journals with nothing in them because I didn't really find writing, but there were other reasons for that there as well. God likes to hear us ask the questions. He likes to hear us talk. He likes to spend time with us. You don't have to be doing anything, just simply dwelling. Letting the mind ponder, letting the mind race, letting the mind be still. Just taking time in the silence and dwelling with our Abba. So there's 1,000 things trying to grab for our attention in this world. And Lord, how beautiful a thing it is to invite us to go cloud watching on a foggy day, cloudy day, or even on a clear one. Spend our time lashing. So many places say slow down. There's a reason for it. They're tapping into ancient wisdom that goes beyond even it. Those places that say, hey, spend some time with the Lord. And much like we're finding, sleep lets the mitochondria decompress. Spend time with the Lord. Let your whole being decompress. Because He pours out blessing, shaken up, and all that fun stuff. Likes to make us from ashes to beauty, from dust to people, from dry bones to a living race of humans. Bear His image and get to live His love. Spend time pondering with the Father. Not really prone to giving advice because I can basically tell you what not to do more than anything. But at those few places in my life where I will give advice, spend time with Him. Trust me, it'll help. And those places where chaos is running circles to the point where it seems like a monkey circus chaos of insanity in the brain, take a moment just to breathe and ask Him to clear it out. He will. Dig into Him. You'll never be the same. The world wants us to be so tightly wound we can't see Him. He wants us to breathe. Choose the kingdom that you will serve. May His favor be upon you. Know that you're loved. God willing, I'll see you then.